Buckle up, folks. You know what time it is. We're leaving America. Or eventually, that's our goal. We're just doing this video to see what the sentiment of people who have already left America, what their perspective is, try to weigh our options, see if it's a good idea to actually leave America. Because, who knows? Maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe you don't even know what anyone would be thinking. Why would anyone even leave America? So, let's see. Our first victim today is this 18-year-old who left to go to Thailand, I think, but let's see what he has to say.
I'm 18 years old and I escaped America. And let's talk about it because a lot of people say it's exaggeration that you can escape, but let me tell you why it's really not. First, let's talk about credit cards because that is one of the biggest traps in America. And it's honestly so sad to see like 90% of Americans are in debt and like they obviously cannot pick up and go to another country. I'm 18 years old and I literally have a credit limit of $25,000, which is honestly so crazy. And I don't mean crazy is a good thing. That is horrible. But that's literally what the US government wants, is Americans to be in debt so they have like control over them. I have a few more things to talk about, but next is inflation and the prices of stuff. Literally 70 to 80% of average Americans just working like jobs, even making $100,000 a year, are going into debt each week. Just because so much prices are going up in America, rent is going up, literally bread, food, anything is going up except people's wages. Yes, it's like that in other countries, but 90% of other countries is not like that. Okay, next topic is college and getting a degree in America. Right now, more Americans than ever before are literally just getting an online job and traveling with their families. I know people who are traveling with their families to Mexico, Thailand, Vietnam, all the Asian countries for less than $2,000 a month. Back to my next point, getting a degree in America literally puts straps on you to stay there for the rest of your life. And you might say, oh my gosh, that's the American dream. Yeah, that used to be the American dream, is to go to college, get a job, buy a house, but now that's like not even possible for my generation. Okay, holy shit, what the hell is that? I need to run. Guys, why is it just on the street? Literally next to shopping, it's just like over there. Okay, but let me preface one thing. It is possible to still buy a house, but definitely not in California where I lived. I bought a rental property in Ohio for about $110,000, which I only needed about $15,000 to put down, and then I had another person put 15. But the only way that was possible for me is I didn't have to pay rent from 16 years old to 18 when I had a job, which I'm extremely grateful for because I was able to get a job at 16 and just save all my money working 40 hours a week until I was 18 years old. I was actually talking to my sister about this because she went to school for about 8 years to be a physical therapist, and now that she's graduated and has been a physical therapist for about 5 years or so, because she literally cannot move out of the country unless she wants to go to another country and do her degree all over again. So it's basically like you're stuck in America if you literally go to college and get into debt like they want you to. My advice to people my age, open up a credit card, but pay it on time or pay it early. Because credit is definitely good to have when you're buying a house. Obviously you need it, but that is like my advice to people my age, and literally do not go to college. There's so many jobs on social media now that you do not need a degree for. And the amount of money that people pay for college and get into debt for is also a strap on their hand. Like, that's not even exaggeration. If you don't have parents to pay for your college, which 90% of Americans don't, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life paying college off. It was so sad because in high school, my teachers, they would like tell us how much debt they have. And mind you, they've been a teacher for over 20 years and are still paying off college. Like, it makes no sense to me. I would rather be in debt on a house, bringing in profit, than in debt on college, paying for that. Like, and it's what the government or school doesn't want to teach you. Okay, this video is already too long, but I could go about all this all day. This is why I escaped America. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoy this content, and bye.
Okay, an 18-year-old who escaped America. That is, he said a lot of facts there. College is a very easy way to sink all your cash into some debt that you don't need in the first place. And strange that an 18-year-old has to tell this to us, and before the school system even tells us. I didn't even learn about credit cards until the pandemic, actually. I was always told growing up that credit cards was a bad idea and you should always be paying in debit. And it's just, they're not totally wrong about saying that, but they don't tell the complete story of how to leverage your credit or just, paying your credit card debt off in time. Like, you could easily just do that and make sure you pay it off in time, and then you won't be in half the troubles that people say about credit cards. But, this kid escaped, and he's living his life in another country. He found some sort of, I'm assuming, social media work, because he brought up that you don't need a college degree to do a social media job that they have available to us today. And, he's not wrong about that. You don't need a college degree for that. And he found a way to get properties. He's doing all the right steps that, would lead to a successful life at a young age. That's commendable, assuming this is true. But, yeah. What do we have next?
There is a huge misconception that you need money in order to leave the United States. Let me be the first to tell you that life is cheaper abroad. I'm currently in a luxury high-rise apartment in the middle of Ecuador for less than $40 a night. I sold my house in Houston, Texas to live indefinitely in Bali, Indonesia. And for a beautiful room just like this, right next to the beach, with breakfast and daily room service, it costs less than $40 a night. I was recently hospitalized while in Ecuador and my bill came out to less than $500. Healthcare is cheaper, rent is cheaper, food is cheaper and better. And I call what I live a luxury lifestyle, meaning that you can find rooms cheaper than what I'm paying currently. I've met backpackers that have a budget of $500 a month and survive off of that. And depending on which country you want to go to, overall, I would say that you need less than $500 to be able to survive. The greatest thing that I did for my physical and mental health was leave the United States. Don't let fear or your ignorance about how much life costs abroad prevent you from leaving the United States.
That was a lot of good information. Yeah, it does seem very inexpensive to be in the country that she's in. And healthcare is a very big deal. The cost of healthcare in America is extreme. Yeah, you don't even want to be calling an ambulance for the bill that comes to that. That's why half the time people don't even go to the hospital, or they find a way to avoid an ambulance at all costs. You may be dying, but you don't want that ambulance called, because when you wake up from whatever coma you're in, that bill just might be way worse than that. But this lady gave some good advice about her experience in living in another country, and it was basically the similar experience when I went to Ukraine. It was very inexpensive. So let's see what we have next.
Guys, top 3 reasons to move to Panama. So number 1, 0 corporate taxes. So if you're making money, you're an entrepreneur, it's a great place to come down to. There's a huge expat community here. Tons of millionaires, billionaires that have come down here for the same reasons. Number 2, it's Miami with Dollar General prices. You can see you've got, the water, the beautiful high rises, scenery, you got yachts, great restaurants. You're just getting it at a fraction of the cost that you would back in the United States. Number 3, the service. That's my favorite. So I've got full-time live-in staff that literally do everything for me. Cook, clean, laundry, dogs, driving, shopping. I don't lift a finger for anything. The only thing that I'm thinking about is how am I going to level up in my finances, my family, my fun, my fitness, and it's accelerated my personal growth tremendously. So if you're looking for a place to come down as an entrepreneur, couldn't recommend it more.
Panama. I don't hear a lot about Panama, but I do know it's in South America, and he makes it sound very amazing. I might have to look more into Panama, but it does look like Miami. I was looking at this Miami podcast, and the views from where they do their podcast are just amazing. It looks like the when the sun is setting and the sun is rising. I would like to spend a few days in a Miami high rise. So Panama might be the way to go to experience that kind of life. What language did you have to learn in Panama? Is it Spanish? I don't know too much about Panama, but let's see what we have next.
I live and work in Spain, making roughly 1,000 euros a month, which in America is nothing, but in Spain is more than enough to live. I only work 16 hours a week, and I'm able to afford a super nice apartment in the city center of Madrid. Food costs me 20 euros a week. My electric bill is like 30 euros a month. I don't have to worry about gas or a car payment or insurance because the public transportation system is so world class that you don't even need a car at all. Madrid is like the New York of Spain, except if you were living in the city center of New York, you'd have to be making literally at least $5,000 a month, and that's extremely lowballing it. Just their way of life in general, like, is so much more relaxed and just taking time to enjoy life rather than just working constantly. They literally have a siesta in the middle of the day where they take 3 hours to go nap or go to a coffee shop to hang out with friends. Like, the American mind cannot fathom. It's just crazy to me because, like, you've been told growing up your whole life that America is the best country in the world. That's just so far from the truth. And it's, like, very obvious how much worse it is now that I've gotten out.
The New York of Spain, Madrid. I is another country that I don't hear a lot about. I haven't done my research, but she makes it sound amazing. And if you're making money on social media, and 1,000 euros, which, you know, I only know US dollars, but euros and dollars are basically, I see it as the same. I know that maybe euros might be slightly more, but if you're making more than the minimum wage of here, then you could easily live in this country, probably living that luxury life that other lady was talking about in Madrid, which is New York City. For Spain, it sounds like a done deal. Sign me up. I'm trying to go to Madrid. If you're making more than, you only need 1,000 a month, $20 a week on groceries. I know you've seen those videos where people are constantly complaining that you spend $100 at a trip to the grocery store and you get like a bag of potato chips and, you know, a few bananas and maybe a gallon of water, because we all need water. I like the sound of this place. I know. Growing up, there was always like this fear mongering of how other countries would treat you, especially like, you know, as a Black American. They always say like, you know, other countries would be like not so nice to you if you're, you know, a Black man. But going to Ukraine, I completely didn't feel that vibe at all. Like, it was just, you know, everyone was so nice. And I think that's just like the general sentiment for most countries that you travel to. And I think media has done a good job of sort of just putting that fear in us of wanting to stay in America. And, you know, I know there's like pros and cons to everything, but, you know, you never know how bad the cons are until you experience it for yourself in person. And even then, I think maybe the cons aren't as bad as American living. Let's see what we have next. I think this is the last video.
This is why I feel like the cost of living has never been as bad as it is right now. Because it used to be, when the cost of living was high, it was for the things that you need in life. Food, gas, shelter, etc. All those things cost a lot of money. Right now, all of those things still cost a lot of money. And also, I feel like it's just expensive to just be alive. Like, I feel like my life, as soon as I wake up, is literally just me putting down a credit card, and it's just a tab. And life is a bartender. And it's just like, what are you going to have? And I'm just like, I'm okay. I don't really need anything today. And it's just like, oh, really? Well, if you're going to be here, you're going to need to spend money. And I'm just like, what do you mean here? I'm just in the world. And it's just like, yeah, you have to buy something now. It's even getting to the point where, like, I feel like even my thoughts are getting expensive, you know? Like I could just have the thought of like, my nose is a little stuffy. And then all of a sudden, I open up my phone 10 minutes later and have 12 ads for like, oh, you have a pollen allergy and you got to buy these anti-pollen allergy pills or you're going to suffocate in your sleep. Sleep is the only place I still feel kind of safe. But even there, it's like I could have sleep problems for one night and then I wake up feeling kind of groggy and all of a sudden I'm getting targeted ads for melatonin gummies. It's like all of our necessities are still expensive, and then also just every increment of our life costs something.
I could not agree more. I know every time I'm eating at a restaurant and then when I finish the meal that I went to the restaurant for, then they like, the waiters or waitresses, they kind of pressure you into getting some sort of like dessert to go along with it. I'm trying to watch my weight, try to get these gains. I'm not trying to get dessert, but if you say no, it sort of feels like, you know, you're just sitting in the restaurant and you're just taking up the time that the restaurant has to get more customers into seats, and I don't like that. Like, I don't want to feel like I need to be shooed away so a business can make more money. And it definitely felt it feels a lot more like that in American restaurants than I was eating in Romania and Ukraine. Like, it felt like they gave you time to just sit around and enjoy the meal that you just ate, enjoy the food that you just ate, like give you more time to reflect than I even would ever want. Like I was sort of waiting for the waitress to give me the bill so I could pay and go, but I'd rather have that than have to be rushed out the door. And yeah, life just existing, it seems very expensive nowadays. This guy, he makes good points, and I think we could all relate to it. But I think that's it for this video. I like these kind of videos where I'm just seeing people talk about how they were living in other countries and just giving me a better perspective of what I'm gonna do, where I'm gonna go when I actually get to the position of making money online and being able to show the world other parts of the world. You don't have to be stuck in the USA. You don't have to be stuck there. I've been wanting this ever since my first video of me showing my trip to Ukraine. And, you know, we need to break out of, you know, this idea that we're stuck where we are. We don't have to be working 9 to 5. We don't have to be stuck in the warehouse. We don't have to be stuck in a cubicle. We can break free. And yeah. So if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want to keep up with these videos that I'm making, subscribe. And I'll see you guys later.